and welcome to Football 301. I'm your host, Nate Tice. We are entering week 5, but we're still got 4 weeks of NFL action to review, to rank, to list off. That's what we're doing today. We just had a smattering of lists that we're going to go through 1 through 5. Best rookies so far, biggest disappointments, a couple other superlatives we're going to tackle today. To help me do that, like every single Tuesday, my guy, Mr. Matt Harmon. How you doing today, Matt?
Nate, I'm doing good. This was a difficult exercise because it's kind of wide ranging, you know, and I think sometimes we're 4 weeks into the season. Number one, I wasn't going to complain to Stone about the topic that he pretty much suggested. So I would never do that. I would never complain about an assignment ever.
Or a screen grab.
That being said, I would definitely never do that. Never ever. That being said, it's tough because 4 weeks into the season, there are some opinions you have that are strong and some that are super loosely held. So some of these I feel pretty attached to that we're going to talk about today. Other ones I'm like, I don't really feel that strongly about it. So it'll be interesting to see where we line up on this.
Yeah, it's kind of nice. We threw them in the doc, and I'm truly just glancing at the first category now. And seeing what your answers is going to be. So I'm actually really interested to get into these. But the topics we're going to tackle today, we're going to get to in a sec. But best rookies, biggest disappointments, second-year QBs, and best units overall, like offensive lines, receiver rooms, defensive lines. Those types of fun things should be very, very fun. Kind of a quarter season rankings bonanza. But before we get into that and a little brief Monday Night Football recap, check us out on the Yahoo Sports Network, our brand new streaming TV channel. The Yahoo Sports Network is available to stream on leading fast services or on yahoosports.tv. Saw a couple announcements. Saw we got the Dunker Spot. They're a great little basketball duo. Excited to hear them. So pretty fun. Yahoo's juicing it up, baby. All right, but let's get into Monday Night Football before we get into a little rankings bonanza, as Stone put it. Man. That was a Thursday, that was like a week 13 Thursday feeling Monday Night Football. Even though we had the doubleheader, there was some sloppiness going on. First, we had the Dolphins and the Jets. Dolphins win 27-21. And then we had the Broncos beating the Bengals 28-3. Starting with that first game, AFC East battle. Tyreek Hill tears his ACL. I think that was dislocated his knee. That was pretty ugly. That was a Sean Livingston-like injury, who's actually my neighbor here in Las Vegas, which I think is pretty fun. But then also Braylon Allen got injured, fumbled at the goal line, and then gets the kick return and then gets hurt on that. So kind of a weird, sloppy game. So starting with this one, any takeaways? I figure we can kind of keep this brief because that's kind of how my observations of these games was. Very brief. In and out, in and out.
Garrett Wilson's awesome. That's my number one takeaway for the Jets. Nice. My number two takeaway is that just can somebody let that guy win football games at some point? I realize he re-signed with the Jets, but I just thought the Jets would be a little more promising through the first 4 weeks, but it's been pretty disconcerting, especially on the defensive side of the football. Like the offense is what it is, but I've been pretty, and you know, this is something I think when Charles and I did an episode when you were gone, talked about the kind of like forgotten coaches or forgotten new faces, new places, and Steve Wilks being the defensive coordinator here was kind of, I wouldn't say it was on my radar, but it's definitely on my radar now. That was something we talked about there. Those two guys are from very different philosophical lenses, and I just wonder how much of, and obviously his last 10 years as an NFL defensive coordinator did not go well, Steve Wilks with the 49ers. I just wonder how much like push and pull there is with that, because this defense has been super messy to me, very disappointing. I thought it might be a top 10 unit this year. It's been a bottom 10 unit so far. And then obviously on the Miami side, Tyreek Hill, this injury, he'll be 32 in March next year. I think it's rather obvious that he's done with the Dolphins. I think that they were trending towards a divorce anyways. Now I'm kind of wondering, like, is he done? Is he done? You know, I mean, I already thought he was a player in decline, and this is a serious injury. He still has off-field issues that he's dealing with. Obviously, things flamed out with the Dolphins. I'm sure I'm going to say all this, and then the Chiefs will sign him, for the veteran minimum in September next year, because nobody loves old friends like the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are all of us like 30, 40, 50-year-old men where we just don't make any new friends. That's the Chiefs are those.
Oh, that's real.
They're those guys. Yeah, that's the Kansas City Chiefs. So they'll probably end up back with Tyreek Hill, but I just wonder at this point, with everything, with this injury, and again, he was a player in decline already, I just kind of wonder if this might be it for him.
Some of my newest friends are my podcast co-hosts. That's how adulthood is right now. It's really his work friends have become real friends kind of thing. No, I mean, shoot, starting with Tyreek, it was all my concern anyways, because his speeds were dropping, which, there is noise with it, but it's pretty stark when you look at things like average top speed, how many times you hit 15 miles an hour or more. And that was the thing with Tyreek Hill. He's so speed dependent. It's not like the most gifted route runner or most detailed route runner. He kind of did his own thing because he was so fast. Like, he was able to do his own thing. And also, I mean, this is a guy that got stripped of his captaincy. I'm not trying to pile on to a guy that just had his knee completely turned around, but it is just one of these things where I was already concerned about how he would age. He was he was contributing last night. You could definitely see that. But then leading to this injury, it's like, yeah, he had a game already. I was worried about how it would age. And then now going through, I mean, this is a significant injury. Just an ACL is one thing, but just having all of this is just like, it's truly crippling. And so that's what it's just curious what the second half or back half of his career is going to end up. I think just Dolphins overall, it's just like, oh my God, just another thing. Even if they pulled off the win, it's just still like, still have that leaky defense as well. Still have an offense that just feels just kind of blah still. Even there's some bright spots. That's a lie. There's actually some nice moments with this offense still, but just still has just not everything I want, mostly because the offensive line is just so blah. But the Jets, though, I'm totally with you. I think the offense is still, they can still grit it. Like, there's still a run game here. I think the young offensive linemen have been very encouraging, including Tippmann. Membow has been nice. He's had some up and down moments, but like this, Olaf Fashanu's had some good moments when he's been out there. And also, he's, again, young, up and down kind of moments in pass protection, particularly, but they can run the ball. Breece Hall is churning it. Braylon Allen had a really nice opening drive until he got hurt, or until the fumble, and then he got hurt. You see the Justin Fields run dynamic being added and his scramble ability. But the defense, though, is just so predictable. And it's kind of Aaron Glenn's kind of thing. But then I'm glad you brought up Steve Wilks. There's going to be another assistant coach that is kind of one of these things that is kind of I overglossed until the last moment. A particular favorite team of ours that we like to discuss that we'll talk about a little bit. But Wilks is a man coverage guy, especially on third down as well. So it's kind of like, oh, so Glenn and Wilks are kind of samey. And so and that was kind of what happened to that 49ers defense. It was like, all right, third down, man coverage. All right, we can beat this. And you're not going to stop the run. So it's going to be 3rd and 4 and they run man coverage. That over time, that's pretty easy to beat unless you got just ridiculous corners. So it's NFL quarterbacks are really good, even the bad ones. So if you're going to just run man coverage and it's like, all right, there's Sauce Gardner, who's playing really well, actually. So there's Sauce Gardner. All right, who is not Sauce Gardner? All right, I'm targeting him. That's basically all you have to do as a quarterback, especially if you have decent routes. So yeah, they need new ideas there. They need better horses if they want to keep this way. Aaron Glenn, this is all he's run. So not sure if he's going to change that. So I'm very, very curious about where that kind of develops, where it goes from here. But yeah, it was kind of there's moments with the Jets offense, but then just kind of felt lethargic and sloppy. Mm-hmm. Just very sloppy. Every Justin Fields offense is sloppy. I mean, that's just kind of how it goes with him in there. I know, as exciting as he is, he's just a sloppy football player. Getting to the other Monday night game, which just kind of felt inevitable. Broncos win 28-3 against the Bengals. Bengals just couldn't get anything going. So like Broncos for their stretches there, it just felt like routes on air. Like for the Broncos offense, it was just like, all right, we're going to try this play. We're going to just try this swing pass. Oh, it went for a touchdown. We're going to just try this little screen. Oh, look, another 8-yard gain. Cool. But any takeaways from a Broncos beatdown of just a dragging Bengals team with Drake Browning at quarterback?
I don't even know what to say about the Broncos offense in this. Frankly, I don't really even know what to say about the Broncos period in this, because that was just such a pathetic showing. I mean, it was embarrassing. It was an embarrassing showing by the Cincinnati Bengals. And it felt like they waved the white flag, punting late in that game. It doesn't matter that it's out of reach. It just shows some fight, shows some competitiveness. It's it's a pretty distressing time to be a Bengals fan. That's for sure. And so again, I don't really know what to say about the Broncos in this. I'll just note that this might have been the worst offensive performance we saw by any team all season. The Bengals gained 6 first downs in this game. That's the fewest by any offense so far this season. The next closest is the Titans in week 1. With 7 first downs gained. So congratulations. You're a veteran-laden team with highly paid wide receivers, and you're as good as the Titans in Cam Ward's first start against this defense, by the way, on the road. Yeah. So congratulations. That's where the Bengals are at.
Oh, I mean, their defense is just so bad. Like none of their DBs
like
can
what's more embarrassing, the Bengals defense or the Bengals offense? I mean, I don't know.
The offensive kind of just like, yeah, it's Jake Browning. And like, even if he had a nice stretch a couple of years ago, it's kind of like, the other shoe drops, especially going against Broncos defense, which we'll talk about a little later too. But it's, man, the defense. And it's kind of one of those where it's like, this is what I was expecting. And I kind of like to be surprised when I'm like, this is going to be so bad. This is going to be so bad. Like the Colts offense, which I was like, that's probably going to be average with Daniel Jones. And it's like, it's actually good. That's fun. But man, this is even worse than I was expecting. This is just like bad. Like, it's just guys are running into each other. It's like a highlight film. Like every play looks like that Mike Vick run against my dad's Vikings team, where 2 guys ran into each other and he scores the touchdown. And that's like every play against this Bengals defense. It's just, and tons of offsides. So there's sloppiness going on. Yeah. Like you mentioned, you're supposed to be this vet lane. This team was supposed to contend. I didn't think so, but that's what they, in their heads, that's why you paid these receivers. They're like, I know Joe Burrow's hurt, but like this defense is just poor, like poorly coached, lacks talent, lacks speed, lacks detail. It's pretty brutal. I'm still curious. I think Al Golden, I learned, has family in Cincinnati, because I'm like, why'd you leave Notre Dame? You're probably making over $2 million. Why would I get the NFL is the NFL, but why take this job? I'm still so curious about that.
Right.
And then just real quick on the Broncos, I actually think the Broncos skill guys are really picking it up. Of course, RJ Harvey got some run late and just had some nice moments, but Dobbins is Dobbins. I think whatever is fine. I just think the receivers have a little more juice on top of the Marvin Mims stuff. Cortland Sutton. I think you and I are perfect agreement about what Cortland Sutton is. Just like a good solid X. Like he's the good X. There's elite X's, very good X's. He's the good X. But then all the other guys, Franklin, it was kind of up and down, but he's got some speed. And Pat Bryant had some nice moments. So we know he's a very detailed guy and very kind of utility player that I think will be really useful in this offense. I don't know. I just felt a little better about where they're at as far as offensively. I'm not super high on Bo Nix still. Had a couple nice throws on third down. He had the one kind of hole shot. It was. I think it was against 2-man. I haven't really looked at it, but it was kind of a weird look. But he still hits it, and then he has another one, the touchdown throw to Sutton. I think it was. That was a really nice line drive throw.
That was nice.
He's inconsistent. Just watch his feet. Like that's all you just have to watch. He just turns his body, and that's where it leads to inconsistencies. But this offense can be fine enough to win a lot of games because of their defense, and that was their formula. And I just think they got a little more juice than maybe I was expecting from the skill guys. So. I don't know. The Broncos are kind of overall what I expected, but just kind of still like it's nice to see some of these young guys get going a little bit. Let's get to the fun stuff. Sorry, fans of those teams. It just felt Frank Schwab, our coworker here at Yahoo, texted or messaged me, and he was just like, yeah, that felt like a week 4 preseason game, like Thursday night during the preseason. Yes. That's what that kind of game felt like. And I was like, yeah, you're exactly right. That's what that night felt like. All right, let's get to the main course here. Our little quarter season rankings bonanza, ballyhoo. We're going to go 4 categories. We're going to go 5 players, teams, units each. We'll give 1 to 5 all at once. We're going to start with best rookies. Matt, through 4 weeks, and this is all positions, and this is where you get to flex your football muscle, because I feel like all you get to do is talk about rookie receivers and their success rate against man coverage. So this is where you get to actually show off what you're watching overall and what stands out to you, Matt. Who are your top 5 rookies so far through 4 weeks? This is not a whole season rankings. Just have to have that caveat, of course.
All right, so I want to say too, this is not, I didn't put these in order or anything. This is just, hey, these are 1 through 5. I didn't order like this is the most impressive guy. I just wrote down for all of these. Like this is just what came to mind. That was already hard enough. I didn't want to make it harder on myself. So I have Will Campbell,
honorable mentions
1.
in the doc.
Yeah, so do I. Of course, dude, you can't make a list without honorable mentions. Come on. I mean, there's too many players in the league, too many things going on. Give me a break. All right, so best rookies. I've got Will Campbell. I've got Tedero McMillan / Emeka Egbuka. I think I originally just sent in McMillan to. I cheated. Listen, this is not real. This is not a game. This is not one of your board games, Nate. I can cheat, okay? This is not real. So I think I actually just originally sent in McMillan to. I sent in just McMillan to Stone, but I'm going to throw Egbuka on there too because I think those guys have basically been very level. Like there's not one that's clear cut better than the other. And I'm really excited to watch them over the course of the season. I've got Tyler Warren in here. I've got Abdul Carter, especially after last week. You really got to throw him in there. He was insane against the Chargers. Backup tackles, I get it. And I threw Jahad Campbell on this list as well. He's definitely had some splash plays, maybe a little bit inconsistent here and there, but he's a rookie linebacker. Speaking of which, Carson Schwessinger, I think you also have got to give a shout out to here. He was my honorable mention player. So 1 through 5, Will Campbell, both rookie wide receivers, McMillan, Egbuka, Tyler Warren, even though he's ruining Josh Downs from a production standpoint, Abdul Carter, and Jahad Campbell.
I felt like the Tyler Warren one was gritted teeth. That I was actually shocked to see that name on there. But
I'm really trying to not hate Tyler Warren because he's an awesome player, but it is pissing me off just from the Josh Downs stuff because I knew this is what was going to happen. That's why I admitted it when I admitted it completely. Admitted it when the Colts were mocked a first round tight end. I said, do they really need another tight end? And I admitted that was my bias talking. Okay, so here 4 weeks into the season, I can still
February.
say. Yeah,
like where you were annoyed by.
I knew
this. You were already annoyed.
I knew it was going to happen.
And it did happen. And they're dialing it up for him too. Like, specific designer play. He got the fullback dive touchdown, but then right before that he had a wildcat snap, and right before that he had a sail route to him, like perfectly. It was the design was wiping everybody out just so Warren could get open on it. Jones actually made a nice throw on it, but like. Yeah, no, they like him, and he's catching everything. He's so
good.
strong.
Yeah, he's awesome. So
he's good. Yeah, no, he's good. He's exactly what I pictured. He's good. They're just very smart with how they use him. I really like it. So that's a nice list. I did not have Will Campbell on there. I do think he is having a good rookie season though. But my top 5 rookies through 4 weeks: Gray Zabel. I did put these in order for the rookies. I did. Gray Zabel, Seahawks guard. And I got some Zabel stats for you. It's not just eye test. Abdul Carter, I totally agree. Last week was kind of his breakout game. I think anybody could have a breakout game, but they used him in a very smart way. Tetoro McMillan, number 3. Emeka Egbuka, number 4. 5. Jacob Parrish, slot defender for the Bucs, has been phenomenal. My honorable mentions: Carson Schwessinger, which feels apt because I think he was pick number 33. Feels perfect for the first pick of the second round to be honorable mention on both of the lists. But he's been great. And then Tyler Warren, my other honorable mention as well. I actually had like 9 honorable mentions, but I will not dive in all of them.
Yeah.
Yes. Any that you want to highlight here from your top 5s? We already got a little Warren discussion there, but actually you kind of touched on all those guys. But I'll start with Abdul Carter. How about that? Because he's both of our lists. I think they're trying to get all 5 of their top guys, the Giants, on the field at the same time. Their top 5 like defensive linemen. So they're putting Carter as like a stand-up linebacker. And whatever. It was one of those where it was like, he did it in college. It was like, yeah, that's not why you draft him.
Yeah.
That's not why you pick him. I get that he did it, but that was just kind of a different. He was a spinner, which is Clay Matthews used to do it a bunch. Zadarius Smith recently. It's where they're standing up over the center and it's a blitz look. Lined up at the edge against that Chargers team. Even when Joe Alt was in there, he only has half a sack so far, but he has 19 pressures so far this season. 11 of them are quick QB pressures. He has 11 quick QB pressures already. That's phenomenal number. So second place in just pressures is James Pierce with 9, who's actually had some nice moments. So he has 9 pressures in second of all rookies so far. Abdul Carter has 11 quick pressures, which is even more than that. He has tackles in the run game, 6 run stops, couple of run stuffs. Now they moved him to the edge, though. You kind of see why this guy was a top 5 pick, and he was number 2 on my big board. And I was just one of those, like, this is a blue chip pass rusher. This is why you draft these guys, because he is and you can move him around and play him inside. Thibodeau's playing better too. Brian Burns has been fantastic. Dexter Lawrence, you can see getting back. So it's like, yeah, this is kind of what I envision with this Giants defensive front. But anything to add on Abdul Carter, because yeah, he's just been excellent.
That quick pressure stat was so perfect, because that's what it feels like. It feels like when he's in the backfield, it is quick. It is fast. He's ripping through these guys. He was a runaway like first or second pick in the draft type of player. He was of that caliber, and he's been that so far. Yeah, I thought the him standing up as an off-ball player, it's like, all right, just because he can doesn't mean he should, like that's, yeah, right. That's cute. I get it. You've got two other edge rushers. I'm glad you said Thibodeau's been playing a little bit better this year, I think, too. Brian Burns is Brian Burns. It's like, I understand what you're trying to do here, but get this guy, put his hand in the damn dirt and have him rush the passer. And I think you already saw in week 4, that was really where it again, Chargers had injuries on the offensive line. They have multiple injuries on the offensive line, but he still pretty much wrecked that game from a variety of standpoints with the Chargers offense that's been really good this year.
Yeah, no, we'll see what happens next couple of weeks with them. No, but I'm going with I'll highlight too Gray Zabel, who I'm putting as number 1 rookie through 4 weeks. Eye test wise, could even see it week 1 and preseason. He's been awesome. He is like everything I wanted and more out of that when he was coming out of college. I almost said high school. Just very clean, doesn't make any mental mistakes. I believe really even just the last couple of weeks, he got knocked over, pancaked on one play where like that was standing out. And that's just physically losing as opposed to any mental mistakes. But the thing is, excellent in the run game. And just even better in pass protection than maybe he played left tackle in college. So I shouldn't be shocked, but just so clean. Like he's just never out of whack. Like, and it's the highest compliment you can give a guy. Not every great block or great blocker is just getting pancakes left and right. They're just always in position. It's like good defense in basketball. You're just always in position. And he's only allowed one-on-one pressure this entire season. I know there's other stats out there, but according to Next Gen Stats, only one-on pressure the entire season. It's one total pressure the entire season. Lowest pressure rate among all NFL offensive linemen so far this season, because he only allowed one pressure. That's pretty dang good. Other rookie guards so far this season have on average allowed 7 one-on-one pressures and 10 overall pressures. And this is on top of what he does in the run game. Their Seahawks offensive line is better. Huge glaring weak spot, the right guard spot. But Zabel has just been a solidifying force already. And next to Charles Cross, they got a really good left side there in Seattle. And so I just wanted to make sure I highlight him, because he's been, every time I watch the Seahawks, every week in, week out, very, very high on him still. And geez, like Zabel's been just everything I expected. A lot of the rookies, Torrey Horton, they got Elijah Arroyo going now. So it's just been, nice rookie class for the Seattle Seahawks so far.
John Schneider, take a bow, brother. It was pretty good offseason, and not one that was very popular, but he's made a lot of good moves in this Seahawks.
Yeah, and
he's turning up pretty good right now on those bets. Yeah, he's hitting those bets. So I agree with you. I'm very excited about the Seahawks offense. I've talked about last week. Love the Sam Darnold JSN connection, and it's just funny when we talk about pressure stats, because the source I'm looking at is he's allowed like, I think 8 pressures. That's a good reminder that everything's subjective. Okay. All this stuff is subjective, but either way, it's still one of the lowest among all players, and certainly among rookies. And Will Campbell, another guy who's allowed 8 pressures, I think, according to True Media. And I just think he's been, maybe not like a special starter at left tackle, but whenever I watch Patriots film, I come away, that's not one of the first 8 or 9 problems I've noticed is Will Campbell at left tackle. And they've got some other things that they're trying to sort out there. It hasn't been perfect.
I was going to ask you, what are those things? Later. Do you think? Is it just
we'll get to it later.
Mac Hollins?
I mean, Mac Hollins is there. They did finally put Demario Doug. They did, because we'll talk second year quarterback. So talk a little bit about there, but they did put Demario Douglas on the bench after getting a yard per target for the first 3 weeks of the season. I'm not kidding. 13 targets, 13 receiving yards. So that wasn't going so well. But left tackle Will Campbell, I think, has played pretty well for this team. And that's just, again, something that was a problem all last year. We'll see how high he can fly, but I think they certainly hit like a good starting left tackle. And that was obviously a big concern. I mean, the arms, all that stuff. What is his best future at guard? Maybe theoretically his best future is at guard in some alternate universe, but right now it sure looks like they have an above average starting left tackle 4 weeks into his rookie season. So I definitely thought he deserved a shout out on this list.
No, I'm glad you did. Him and Armor Mimbow have been great through 4 weeks. Not great, but good for rookies, I should say. But Will Campbell, though,
good for rookie tackles.
Very good in the run game, too. That's where you can really feel his presence, especially when they run to that left side. And then he's got Jared Wilson, who's actually been solid at left guard, especially for a rookie. He's had some moments in pass protection, but he's figuring it out. But no, great shout out with Will Campbell. Just a very clean player. That's why I liked him so much. Like, you can just feel him being solid over there. I do think, some inside move stuff got him early. That's what's cool about some of these good players. You can see them turn the light bulb on. They go like, okay, all right, this has beat me. All right, how do I win? How do I compensate? He knows he has shorter arms. All right, so how do I okay, so his is more like he keeps his this is getting too technical for an audio medium, but it's just how he turns his lower body. He's really kind of like squared himself up. I don't know. I could go more into it. Maybe have Brandon Thorne come in and talk about it as well. But it's just one of these things where I feel like he's understanding his technique to win in the NFL. Maybe that's the best way I could put it. But no, good shout out there with McMillan, and then with Campbell. Then we got Tetaro, McMillan, of course, and Emeka Egbuka, who are just tearing it up. Just look at their stats. T-Mac might be getting a little frustrated, but hang in there, man. I still think you're very good.
I think that's another one we're going to hit on later. Some Panthers disappointment, but yeah, I just wanted to note Emeka Egbuka. We talked about him a lot as like a slot based kind of dirty work player, and I think he's been way more than that through 4 weeks. Last week he had the lowest slot rate among all Bucs wide receivers that played a lot. Chris Godwin came back; he wasn't even playing inside, which was a little bit on my radar. 29% slot rate. It was my good buddy Sterling Shepard and Tez Johnson were kind of the slot guys. We'll see. Maybe that changes when Mike Evans gets back and then he goes to the X. And then I think of the two, though, you're probably sticking Godwin inside and you're leaving Emeka Egbuka on the outside because he's been very good against man coverage. And I wrote about this last week. He was just such an awesome zone beater in college, and he is unique among rookie wide receivers that he's almost never overrunning his routes in zone coverage. Like, he finds the soft spot and just sits there and presents Baker Mayfield a target. And I really think Baker thrives with that. Like, all right, I see it, I throw it. And that's not sometimes when you say, oh, he's a see it throw quarterback, that's like a dig. But I mean, especially when Baker is in chaos, I think he's gotten a lot better about this with that offensive line dealing with injuries too. Like, oh, yep, there's my guy. And he's been there and he's not moving. Like, let me hit that. And that's something that rookie receivers often struggle with. I mean, Rome Odunze, a player I adore, he really had issues with that in his rookie season, constantly running himself into coverage and not just showing, Caleb Williams, these are my numbers, like hit me. And then I think Egbuka has just been kind of a rare example that he's just been instantly good against zone.
He's such a smart player. I love him. Like, I really like McMillan. I love Egbuka because I was like, I couldn't see him failing, because he was just such a smart, useful player. It was just more like what his ceiling was. And I'm so glad you highlighted that. He has got even more juice than I maybe give him credit for, where the Ohio State offense, kind of worked him underneath intermediate areas as well, because that's where you got to see the zone running stuff. And then, all right, I'm glad we got to highlight those two, because it's really, really fun receivers. Also, you're talking about subjective, and especially with some charting stuff. Pressures, I think True Media uses PFF's data, which is hand charted. Yeah. Of course, I mimed it. But then Next Gen Stats, which is where I was pulling my stats from for the pressure stuff, they use it more on the tracking. So it's a little more consistency. But again, that's like, there's sometimes this stuff is off. I get it for both of them on both accounts. But no, it's a great thing to highlight, though, because that's what sometimes with football stats, it's like, just hold on. Some of the data can kind of get a little skewed, especially in small sample sizes, but good thing to highlight. I'm sure Keegan,
trust me, take it from somebody that is charting quote data. Charts. I say this all the time. Like, this is just a reflection of what I'm seeing. I don't want you to take this and be like, this is an objective freaking fact. I try to be super sometimes and overly transparent about that so that people don't take it and run with it. Football's a complicated sport, man. It is. Like, trying to distill these things down to one number can be difficult, but hey, that's why we're in the 301 course here, because we're trying to get a little bit above that.
Great shout out. Great job there. He said the movie. He said the title of the movie. He did it. Superman Returns. All right. No, we are going to take our first break and come back with a few more superlatives, including biggest disappointments and second-year QBs. See you guys in a sec. All right. We are back with a few more quarter season lists. It's on to biggest disappointments. Could be teams, could be players, could be a coaching staff. Matt, through 4 weeks, what are some of your biggest disappointments in the NFL?
Yeah, again, not in any order, because actually if I did order it, I would put the same one. I didn't see your list until I opened the doc and put mine.
Yeah.
I would have the number one thing is the same thing that you have at number one, which is the Ravens overall. We even literally worded it the same way, just Ravens overall. Disappointment. By the way, it's gonna get worse before it gets better. As we're recording this right now, it's being reported that Lamar Jackson, unlikely to play week 5, could miss 2 to 3 weeks with this hamstring injury. So buckle up, Ravens fans. It's only gonna get worse. But that would be the number one disappointment. Then I also have Cardinals run game, Panthers being completely incompetent. Not even like they just haven't even played in a normal game, so maybe I'm being too hard, but oh my god, I mean, their special teams are a joke. They come into these games so cold seemingly that I don't know, like I felt pretty good about Dave Canales after year 1. I'm feeling a little weird right now with how the Panthers, I'm just very disappointed in just how completely incompetent they've been for, I would say, maybe 80% of the season. I don't really know what to take away from the Falcons loss. I think said more about the Falcons than it did about the Panthers. I also have the lack of second-year wide receiver leaps besides Rome Odunze and Ricky Pearsall, who I think have clearly leveled up this year. But specifically, some of the guys like BTJ, Ladd McConkey, they've taken steps back. More so we talked a lot about BTJ. That's more of like a BTJ thing, where I think Ladd, it's just been, hey, the production hasn't been there. And I think that has more, I don't really think it's a Ladd issue. But again, just disappointing because you expect, I was talking about this on Twitter this morning, you always expect progression to be linear, and it's just not. So I've just been a little disappointed now. Malik Neighbors is hurt as well, which is, again, disappointing. So those 3 guys were like the belle of the ball in last year's class. And now this year, I think the other guys are starting to close the gap, which is good to see, but still disappointing for the other 3. And then number 5, like the Titans are, I'm sorry to say, a complete show. I didn't think the Titans would be a good team this year, but I also didn't think they would be outright embarrassing. In fact, I thought, like, all right, they might be competent. They've been anything but. They've been one of, if not the biggest messes in the league right now.
Yeah, they really have. I thought they'd be a nice feel-good team. Like, they're a fun bad team. Like, I'm not expecting 10 wins. Yeah. I was expecting like maybe 5, 4, maybe 4, but some fun friskiness. You're in games. Cam Ward's doing. It's just so sloppy. They were not one of mine, but they very much I wanted to make them one of mine. It was my expectations were low, and they're way below low. I mean, it's pretty rough over there.
It's that meme of the car, isn't it? The cardboard sign where the guy's like, our expectations were low, but holy F, like, yeah, that's where we are with the Titans.
That's actually gonna be one of my disappointments. My top 5, or okay, one of them is the Texans offense, and I'll talk about them, but that's my expectations were low, but holy. But number 1, Ravens overall. I mean, that's just the easiest one. Ravens overall. 2, Cardinals run game / offensive line. So talking about coaching change that maybe I overlooked until the very last minute. That was one that was like, I missed this. That was just a miss on me. Yeah. I'll talk about that. 3 is Raiders sloppiness. Because again, did not have super high expectations, but again, thought this would be a little bit more fun and a little bit more encouraging. And instead, it's the offensive line is poorly coached and lacks a lot of talent. Defense is sloppy, which was surprising to me, but seems like just a lot of clash of ideas. Geno Smith has just been way off. I figured it'd be some up and downness with them, but I just thought there would just be a little bit more realness. It just feels so like, there's another interception. Okay, Geno, why'd you try that throw? Oh man, 2 guys are running into each other. Like, all right, Ashton Jeanty finally got going, so maybe that helps. 4 was Texans offense, and 5 was Bryce Young. And really just the Panthers operation right now. My honorable mention was the Vikings O-line health. And that was more of a disappointment because it's like, I, for a brief moment, got to see what it was going to look like when everybody was healthy, when they played the Bengals. I was like, oh, there's Donovan Jackson. There's Darisaw. Oh, man. Oh, look at this.
Yeah, I know.
And now everyone's hurt. So it's just like, oh, never mind. I'll deal with you guys in a few weeks. I'm going to start with the Ravens. Because I talked a little bit more, got into them a lot of it last Thursday when they played the Chiefs and previewing it. I wrote about it. We'll start with the injuries. Matt is hurt out for the year with a neck, and I mean, it seems very serious. Marlon Humphrey's doubtful, probably going to miss a couple of weeks with a calf injury. Nate Wiggins was carted to the locker room. Ryan Stanley was questionable return, had an ankle injury on Sunday. Who else we got? Oh, Lamar Jackson, like you mentioned. Yeah, pretty big deal. Roquan Smith, now doubtful, even though I thought he was been taking a huge step back this year, especially compared to 2 years ago, and was a bad part of their defense. I mean, the offense is still like good, 8th in DVOA. The numbers are okay, but then you kind of just look at it more and you watch them. It's not the same. They are very explosive. Are really the number one explosive play rate in the NFL, but they're 18th in success rate outside of 2 minutes, 30th in sack rate, 21st in 3 plays and punt drives. Their rushing success rate this year on running back runs on first and second down, 32%. Last year was 41.5%. It's never dipped below 36%. It's averaged 40% since Lamar took over as a quarterback. Really just like their identity is, that's the Ravens. It's a run game and defense, and they're bad at defense and they're bad at running the ball. Inconsistent running the ball. It's very explosive, inconsistent. They're 27th in stuff rate, which means gains of 0 or negative yards. 21% of their design runs have gone for 0 or negative yards. They average 4.58 plays per drive. That's dead last in the NFL. That is just a boom bust offense to the max. And it was all required all put on Lamar Jackson to make these plays right. And now he's going to be gone a couple of weeks. It's like, oh man, it's just a Murphy's Law type season so far for a team that was my Super Bowl pick. And after week 1 with the Bills, I was like, fold. Because it was just what the defense looked like more than anything. And now Lamar Jackson's hurt. But then the defense can't stop the run right now. Like one of the worst rushing defenses we've seen in years. Other than that, how's the play, Mrs. Lincoln? It's just that, right. It's bad. It's raw. I mean, it's one of those where it's like, oh, this is going to happen. This guy's going to come back. This guy's going to come back. It's like, no, the reinforcements are gone. Like one of your best defenders, probably number 2, Matt is out for the year. And then Lamar Jackson's going to miss time. One of the best players in the NFL. That's Steelers are going to win the division. this is unbelievable.
My God.
Can you believe it? Maybe that's why I'm so disappointed in this. This is just rough.
Of course, the year I'm like, this will be finally the year Mike Tomlin has a losing record. Of course, they're going to win the damn division.
I know.
I'm an idiot.
I know. So I just ranted and raved about that. But I also want to just talk about, we both mentioned them, the Panthers. So you mentioned kind of, okay, a little lower in Canales now. Your guy Coker's coming back. I can't believe you didn't keep the faith until we got to see the Coke show. But how are you feeling?
Yeah, obviously that's going to fix everything. That's, of course, naturally, yes, Jalen Coker will fix everything. He's kind of the straw that stirs the drink of the whole franchise, truthfully. That's why we had to say Buka over Tedero McMillan, because, McMillan's about to get cucked for the wide receiver 1 job here by Coker. No, but seriously, you can continue.
Oh, I don't know. It's more just like frustrated with Bryce Young. It's like the offensive line's getting banged up, but I actually think that they've been playing fine. Chuba Hubbard rocks still. The run game's like pretty good. I don't have a stat actually. I didn't even look up where their run game is right now. It's probably like 40th after I say that. But it's just like, I don't know. I think the bones are there to be at least average. And I think that's what, just be average. And but with Bryce Young right now, that's a bottom 5 quarterback. And it's just, there's times where he's under duress and then, okay, he's going to make a creation throw and then he's throwing it well behind because the ball doesn't get there in time. Like he doesn't have enough oomph on the arm. It just feels so scattershot. There's McMillan running over the middle on a play against the Patriots and the ball's behind him, like well behind him. Yeah. And McMillan's got one of the widest catching ranges in the NFL. And it's just like, he's not playing with confidence either. You can just tell every time he's off the sideline, he's just shaking his head. There's like, you feel like, I don't want to use the term feel bad, but you do. But also it's just got to be realistic about where he's at right now, because it's just like, this is, like they can't get anything going. I know what they did against the Falcons, but that was more like the Falcons just, what did Breece Hall say? Shoot ourselves in the foot and then shoot the other guy shoot us in the head. That's kind of what the Falcons game was in that game, where the Panthers operation is just lethargic. And I think Bryce Young, the operation with him right now is a little disappointing because I thought maybe we could build. I know last year some of it was a little mirage, but there was a better process there. He was making decisions quicker.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's the thing. Just make him quicker and get the ball out. And now it's just like he's holding on the ball. He's trying to be too perfect sometimes. And it just, on plays he's not comfortable with, I'm just disappointed. Even if I do like other aspects. When you see Mitchell Evans getting some touches now, tight end from Notre Dame, I catches everything. I'm sorry, but I had to give him a shout out as well. But yeah, I don't know. I wasn't like good to say I didn't think they had him as a playoff team. I know that we joked about that last week and talked about that, but I did think there would just be better vibes with this offense where it felt, for the most part this year, it just felt very blah, especially when they throw the ball. And McMillan dunking on guys is great, but every catch shouldn't have to be a dunk. It should, some of this should just be nice, easy process. And there's a couple stop routes, there's a couple moments, but yeah, I just think Bryce Young's been wildly inconsistent so far. It's kind of very disappointing to see.
Okay, so two things on that. Well, one, I think the Panthers are also kind of running into the Marvin Harrison Jr. rookie year stuff with Tedero McMillan, where he's basically only playing at X, but like he can't, and he can play X, but same with Harrison, like he can play X. It's not like, oh my God, you got to move this guy into the slot or something like that, but it does help to move the guy around. The problem is like they have nobody else. Even Xavier Legette, like you can sacrifice him at X, but even he's not out there anymore. And he's like to use one of your phrases, he's a nothing burger out there, as Xavier Legette has been this season. So yeah, he's been that, and that's another thing. Like he's worse than he was to start his rookie year, when I was like, all right, he might be able to be a little something for them. He's truly like nothing. And now he's not even playing. So then their receivers are like Bryson Tremaine and Hunter Renfrow. So yeah, you got to ask McMillan to do all the big boy hard stuff as a rookie in his fourth game. When Coker gets back, that is going to help things for sure. I saw Dave Canal said this week, like, well, I guess we'll see Jimmy Horn. Cool. Like, and there's another small guy that you can't have but do a very limited amount of things. So that's tough. They're in a weird spot there from an offensive perspective. But the reason I said like just the whole operation is completely incompetent. I hate to be the guy that comes in here and just points out the problem and I have no solutions to offer, but they just got to do anything else on defense, anything else, because this is what I'm talking about. They come in, they come in here and just get the doors blown off them right away. In 3 of the 4 games, they're just immediately in a hole. And even if you like Bryce Young, I think you're the one that has the best case scenario. Like he's Alex Smith, right? You're not asking you're not asking Alex Smith to drop behind enemy lines and shoot your way out. That's basically what Bryce has to do in these scenarios. I'm not caping up for Bryce because he has played poorly. But
no, but you're saying it's just like the game script makes him have to be a full-on passer. Yeah.
And they want to be this like physical run team, beat you up with efficient grinder runs with Chuba Hubbard, and then take shots to McMillan and stuff like that. They're not able to do anything from that perspective, because even almost beside whatever's going on offense, the defense is so bad that they're just immediately like behind. The Patriots are the Patriots, and they're just immediately in a hole to the damn New England Patriots. It's brutal in Carolina right now.
I know it really is. I know that Patriots game is just so disappointing. So just to touch on some stats before we wrap up, Panthers beat down here. Outside garbage time, they're actually 11th in success rate. They're 9th in rushing success rate, but then 23rd in passing.
What's garbage time? It feels like they're in garbage time in the middle of the first quarter.
Right. That's why you could just actually take those out. Why this kind of feels, and this is probably where you're getting in with McMillan kind of being in a static role. You're not feeling Legette at all. You're requiring Hunter Renfrow to make plays. I like Mitchell Evans. He's not explosive. Jatavion Sanders has had nice moments, but he's kind of limited in his role as well. They're 31st in explosive play rate. 29th in explosive runs. They only have 3 explosive runs this whole year, and they are 31st in explosive pass rate, which is they have half of the league average right now in explosive passes. So that's, again, when the argument for Bryce Young was that he's a supreme mental football IQ guy, has a great understanding of the offense and of limitations, so he could operate on time, play after play after play after play. And when he's not doing that, okay, like 20th and 23rd in success rate, that's not really that. Okay, well, then we need explosive plays to generate, to overcome that. The run game is there, but if you're not getting any explosives, everything just feels tight and tighter and tighter. And this is where Young's arm limitations, he can throw a nice go ball when it's 1, 2, 3, ball out. But as soon as he has to hitch, as soon as there's a second hitch, as soon as he gets moved off his spot, everything, like you can see his range come. Do you remember the old like Madden cone for quarterbacks?
Yes.
I have it for like 1 year. Okay, now picture that Madden cone, but it's like depth of target, where Josh Allen moves and that thing never changes. So it's always like the back line of the end zone is always available. As soon as Bryce Young moves off his spot, that thing becomes 10 yards. Like he's not pushing the ball past 10 yards. And
yeah,
all right, so you're not going to push the ball in structure. You're not going to push the ball out of structure. We can't use you on design runs because you're too small. Whew, just a lot of limitations, and that's before you even design football plays. And so, yeah,
right.
It's just they're close. There's some good players there. It's just they need a lot. I just want to mention the Texans stuff because last week was a little encouraging. This was the one where I shouldn't say a little encouraging. There were some of the worst plays you've ever seen. There's one play where they just didn't leave Jeffrey Simmons. No one blocked Jeffrey Simmons. It's unbelievable. Jeffrey Simmons has been amazing this year.
Last week was encouraging. Outside of the fact of some of the worst plays you've ever seen.
Oh yeah, that's why I wanted to stop myself, because it was like, and it was going against the Titans. It was like, yeah, it better be encouraging. Yeah. I even looked. So I did a deep dive on the Chiefs, Ravens, and the Texans last week, kind of like contenders that are disappointing. And I came out of it, surprisingly, if anyone's listened to the show, feeling best about the Chiefs than the Ravens and the Texans, which starting to see a little bit of growth. But when I started looking at the Texan offense, we've talked so much about the offensive line. And to me, what actually the frustrating part became their personnel usage. Well, you and I know they drafted 2 rookie receivers on day 2. They added Christian Kirk. That seems to me that they're going to more 11 personnel, spread it out. Let CJ Stroud go to work and maybe have a run game tied into that. If they're going to go to Ram system, okay, the condensed formations are going to work off of each other. Instead, Jacob Johnson played as many snaps as Jalen Knoll, their rookie 3rd rounder, slot guy, even with Christian Kirk out, through the first 3 weeks. They played the same amount of offensive snaps through 3 weeks. Which is like stupid. And it's like, I get it. Like you guys are like want to be Patriots South or what? I don't know what they want to be anymore.
I don't know what they want to be.
No,
either,
this is not. I don't know. This is not your personnel. Like that's not what you. And I know. Okay, rookies got to earn it, but guess what? Just get some juice out there and let them figure it out.
Seriously.
So last week though, they used more 11 personnel. They used no 21 personnel. I think Johnson was hurt. They used a little 12 personnel. They used a bunch of jumbo, which I thought was interesting. And this is the only stat before I kind of leave it. So I keep piling on these teams right now, is that when they're out of 11 personnel, they're dead last in success rate, dead last in rushing success rate, 20th in passing success rate. When they go 11 personnel, they're 24th in success rate, 24th in rushing success rate, 20th in passing. It's not good. It's still below average, but it's not complete. And that's what I mean. Just base out of 11 personnel. So any Texans thoughts before maybe we move on, because I know we kind of beat on them every single week. It feels like
it does feel that way, but that's honestly because I am just disappointed in where this team is right now. And I did almost have them in my 5th spot, but ultimately I'm like, well, I'll throw the team that they shut out. This pathetic Texans team. I'll instead talk about the team that they shut out, and the head coach seems like he wants to fight the reporters every time he gets smoked on the field. Come on, man. Come on, Brian. Enough of that. But anyways, for the Texans, to me, we talk about, we want to do these condensed formations and all that stuff, but I think this is a team that kind of needs to spread it out a little bit. Like got you can't run the ball, and you've got issues in pass protection, both from just a one-on-one talent perspective and also communication. It seems like they're still figuring out. Get some guys out of the box a little bit here, right? And that all these heavy condensed formations. And I agree. I mean, look, it's always tough with rookies. It's so much easier on the outside to criticize, like, just get those guys on the field. Just get those guys on the field. And maybe they practice like terribly or whatever, or maybe this team is just too conservative, or maybe, it comes from the top. It's always this way with these defensive coaches. They're a little bit too conservative with the rookies on the offensive side. It's like, well, just don't mess it up. Don't mess it up. But well, guess what? Your veteran players mess it up all the time that you've got out there. They're not any better. And like, I think we need to see the rookies. And look, they put in Woody Marks last week, and he immediately gave him something again. Yeah, immediately gave them something. That was the 8th best rushing success rate performance of the last 2 seasons for the Houston Texans. That game against the Titans, and then there was like 33%, which just goes to show you the state of the Texans run game the last couple of years. But I mean, regardless, that is the 8th best rushing success rate performance that they've had. Like an immediate difference to get the young guy back in there. And I think the same thing would happen with the receivers, but that also still seems to be a bit of a slow play.
I know, just getting old. No, that's a great, the Marks thing is like, again, that was like the key kind of variable of like what is showing or what's going on with this personnel usage was, okay, Nick Chubb is our base down back. Nick Chubb has never been good in protection. All right, who's going to be our protection back? It's not Dameon Pierce. We gave him a shot and he blew it in week 1. All right, cool. All right, it's Dare again. Okay, well, Dare fumbles. He lacks juice running the ball. We trust him, but we need a little something there. And so we talked about on the fantasy forecast, it was Woody Marks is going to start getting touches. It's just the math of this backfield. He can protect, and he's got more juice than the other 2 guys. All right, so he's not Nick Chubb running, but maybe he's a step down from that. But he can at least do all the other things. So it just seemed like he'll get touches and see what happens there. But no, I mean, their run stuff rate goes from when they're in 11 personnel, it's 5%. Which is second of 11 personnel in the NFL. That's great. That's what this offense needs. They're terrible on third down. So like, let's make it easier on third down. When they're out of 11 personnel, their stuff rate jumps to 24%, which is 24th in the NFL. Seems just like an easy fix. Spread it out. Make it easy on your center to sort out. Make it easier on your quarterback to sort out. Any passing shots on the Cardinals before we move on? Because I just want to say, we talked plenty about the Cardinals. Justin Fry, new offensive line coach. I overlooked the loss of Clayton Adams, who went to the Cowboys. And I was like, I hyped up Clayton Adams. He's one of the best, I think, assistant coaches in the game. He leaves his Cardinals team. The run game is lethargic. They can't pick up any blitzes. And upon rewatch, I feel actually more supportive of Kyler than maybe I am on TV watch. Because then when you watch, you're like, oh, there's another free runner. There's another free runner. There's another free runner. We talked about this plenty, how the Kyler can be frustrating at moments, but there's a lot of times he actually helps out this offense a lot. The offensive line just looks really sloppy right now, and the protection scheme looks really sloppy. So I just want to give them a little passing shot disappointment.
Yeah, sometimes we forget to do that. We're excited about this coach goes to the next place and he's going to help them out. Well, we got to kind of downgrade the place that he's leaving, or at least like raise an eye at that, right? That was definitely the case with Clayton Adams. And my conclusion about the Cardinals because we talked about this a lot on the last fantasy film room, and then there was the Thursday night game. My conclusion coming out of that game is I just think like all of these guys need to just get away from each other. I don't think any of them, that's kind of just, we'll play out the rest of the season. And then I think it's time for, Harrison and Kyler get away from each other. Petz and Kyler get away from each other, and that's
you're
probably
total nuking it. No, I bought into the good vibes from the second half. After that drop ball, after the drop ball interception, those couple catches in the fourth quarter. I'm buying it. Yeah, to the moon. No, it's the Cardinals are very frustrating. Defense, they can stop the run finally, so maybe we get some reinforcements of the DBs, and it can look a little better and keep them in games. But we're going to move on finally off of disappointments. We just had to beat those teams down. Let's go to second-year QBs. Yeah, this one's fun. I didn't see your list until right now. What are your top 5? There are 7 of these guys that we're sorting through, so 2 guys will be left off. I'm not mentioning honorable mentions because I think you can figure it out. Second-year QBs, Matt, how are you ranking them?
I have number 1, Drake May. I think he's been really good this year. Very effective. He's made mistakes. I get it. And I'm not the person to come on here and yada quarterback mistakes. Okay. Like, mistakes are mistakes and you can't make them. They matter.
What do you think about his footwork and arm mechanics? What do you think about it?
Hey, I mean,
do you want to do a 2-hour video breakdown of footwork and arm mechanics of quarterbacks that actually turns out doesn't matter? Because as long as the ball gets there.
I do not. I do not want to do that, actually. But no, I think he's been, from a success rate standpoint, he's been really good. Again, he's made mistakes for sure. We do want to cut those out. But when everything is working, I think he plays really well within the structure of the offense. I think week 4 was kind of a nice breakthrough for Diggs, who had been kind of a part-time player for them. And you just saw them kind of developing a nice little chemistry where he's just sitting in the soft spots of zones. And of course, again, it's the Panthers. I just ripped the Panthers defense to shreds. I understand that. But just being able to find Diggs and find those openings. I think that was really impressive to me. So he's number one. Number two, I have Jaden Daniels, which feels tough. I mean, he's played 2 games, but and the week 2 game was terrible. But so I don't really know what to do with that. But I'm giving him a little bit of benefit of the doubt because I know the history here. And then so I have Caleb Williams number 3, I have Michael Penix number 4, and then I went with Spencer Rattler number 5 because I ain't putting JJ McCarthy there, and I just think Rattler we'll talk about Rattler, but Bo Nix was 33 out of 33 quarterbacks that had taken 50 plus dropbacks heading into week 4 in success rate. So I don't even know if that's all Bo Nix's fault or just they seem to still want to keep the training wheels on him. But I just think Rattler's been a little bit better through the first few weeks of the season.
Yeah, I agree. You'll see in my rankings, Drake May's 1, and this is not just because of the bit. This is also just 'cause he's been really good. I can touch that in a sec, but I have Caleb Williams at 2, and this is more this. It's hard because if you're including last year, I'd probably give Jane Daniels the bump, as 2. But I would say just this year because Daniels has been hurt, and the first 2 games, I didn't think he was that great anyways. That's why I want to see him. Shout out also to the Commanders' offensive line and run game because they've been great and they've kept this thing going and been one of the better watches. So I want to give a shout out to them and Bobby Johnson, our offensive line coach. But Daniels, I have a 3, and that's just more just because he's been hurt this year, which is a concern. Before I have Spencer Rattler. I think he's been great, relatively great compared to what the expectations are of this offense and what he's got surrounding him. I have Penix at 5 because last week was probably his best game as a pro and got to also really got to see the worst of him in week 3 against the Panthers and the best of him in week 4. And really, I just thought that was he's never, I don't think, going to be the most consistent guy, but man, he's 12th in success rate so far through 4 weeks. If he sits in that range, he can make this work because he's going to be such a high wire act down the field. But much more encouraging. He averaged 10.5 air yards last week, actually targeted the slot a ton, which I'm sure London owners felt. Well, London fans like you, Mr. Matt Harmon, felt throughout the game.
Drake had 5 catches for 81 yards and a touchdown out of the slot, which is it's so funny. Sometimes, I know this is probably not the case, but sometimes you get the feeling like, damn, these guys, did they listen to the shows? Because that's all we yapped about on the show last week about play action. Well, they had 21.4% of their dropbacks in week 4 out of play action. They're not pushing the ball deep. There's so much 12 personnel. Drake London's not getting slot reps like he was last year. Immediately gets a bunch of stuff out of the slot in week 4. It's just very funny. All of the things perfect. We were whining about on the film room episode last week on the fantasy forecast kind of immediately got fixed, quote unquote, in week 4.
Yeah, we were looking at stats last week on the fantasy forecast for anyone hadn't heard that show yet. They were, I think, dead last or 31st. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, but early down play action, it was like, do you know what your offense is? You guys run the ball and go play action off of it. Use that. And it just seemed to me I don't know, he played a lot more confident this week and just I think the Panthers game, he was really trying to be too perfect, but I think he's always going to be up and down because of some of his accuracy stuff. But you can live with this guy. You can win games with him because he can generate those big plays. And that, if you have a run game like this can churn. So this can be a productive offense. So I was really encouraged. I felt kind of funny, but I started getting props a couple of weeks ago, and then he has his worst game as a pro against the Panthers. I was like, of course, that's how it works. Getting to Rattler, just making the right decision with the football. He's a fun guy to rewatch. And they've played some relevant teams. They played the Bills this week. They played the Seahawks a couple of weeks ago. So kind of been watching, played the Cardinals week 1. So of course I was watching that game. But really just making the right decision with the football, just very clean as a thrower. He was taking a lot of sacks at South Carolina, so that was concerning. But the South Carolina offensive line was horrid, and he was just trying to do anything. And I'm rewatching him now, and I don't know, his internal clock is really good. Carson Wentz should be watching Spencer Rattler film as far as, okay, it's not there, get rid of the ball. It's not there, quick scramble and get rid of the ball. Just make it quick. And I don't know, for a Saints situation that's not ideal, him and Kellen Moore got some good things going right now. And it's been a pleasant surprise. I liked Rattler coming out relatively, I had a day 2 grade on him. This offense needs explosives, but man, his operation, even in non-garbage time minutes, has just been very, very clean. So I'm kind of glad you gave him a little shout out too, because it's been a nice, pleasant surprise, even if I liked Rattler before.
I have 2 Rattler things to add here. The first is, we talked about it a little bit before the show. This isn't a cure-all, but they probably do need to operate over the middle a little bit more. That being said, especially taking some shots in that, that's why there's no yak. But I think you see this all the time, and I highlighted this in the week 2 charting notebook I do for reception perception with Chris Olave, whose usage is just like completely different, and it's really sick this year. I don't need to see him throwing any more passes, but
no,
as a receiver, pretty cool stuff. And they just do this. They spam like these 2 plays with him over and over again. And I think Rattler's been really good on both of them. One, it's just like it's not the same play over and over again, but conceptually they do some like motion with him when he gets out and he just runs a quick out route, and him and Rattler and Olave have like just a really good timing on that. There's a lot of trust by Rattler to just let that thing go, and it's just picking up a few quick yards here and there. Like we said, we want him to operate over the middle a little bit more and get some more yards after catch. That's how we're going to create big plays, but it's a good way to just keep this offense on schedule. You also see they do this one where they'll motion Brandon Cooks out and basically kind of, this is like a true sacrifice love of the game route where he does like the cheap motion out and just he becomes he's kind of the nominal slot, but basically becomes the outside receiver and just allows Olave to run like a deep curl route. And that's another one that him and Rattler have a really good timing and connection on. So that's been cool to see. And then the other thing is there's 4 quarterbacks this year with double digit over 10.0 EPA added on scrambles. Number 1 is Josh Allen. Number 2 is Baker Mayfield. Number 3 is Spencer Rattler, and number 4 is Patrick Mahomes. So I think he's not a consistently accurate quarterback. He's got to probably improve the ball placement a little bit, which would also help the yak and help the explosive plays. But I've been impressed with just how he handles the operation of the offense. And it's a really good way that you said it there. Like just the operation's pretty clean here. He doesn't kill them with mistakes or anything like that. And he knows when to pull the ripcord and get out of there, which I'm glad you pointed out Carson Wentz. There's a lot of veterans who still deep into their career do not have that sense that Rattler has 2 years in when he kind of seemed to win the job by default. Maybe we're over talking this because we're grading it on a curve, but for what my expectations were to what he's been, it's been one of the more pleasant surprises in the NFL. Like they're not a complete embarrassment on offense right now.
I agree. They do cool things. We talked about the no huddle stuff before. They keep it clean for him. But I'm glad you brought up the scrambler stat because that was one of my notes too. Is he has how many scrambles he has? He has 13 scrambles and 11 scrambles and 9 of them have been successful. So it's just like that's what you want. Like anything over 60% is good. So 90%, of course, I know it's low usage, but he's 13th in success rate so far. It's just. Yeah. It's a much more mature handling of playing quarterback than I expected. I thought he would have a little more wild horse to him. And I think that's where the pleasant surpriseness has been coming from. Talk about Caleb, starting to see what makes him so intriguing and so why he was so highly regarded. It's just you see the arm talent. The sack rate has dropped tremendously, which was the number one thing I want to see. And it's not just because they improved the offensive line. It really just been more his understanding what he is, just like we're talking about Rattler and complimenting him, sometimes Penix as well. Caleb's understanding, okay, now it's creation time. Now is the time I got to stay in structure. I make that guy free run or miss, but I got to stay in structure because this over route's about to come over. I thought the touchdown to Ndunze was absolutely gorgeous on third down against a funky blitz look, actually, because they're trying to catch you throwing stuff over the middle. They have the 2 guys dropping. A glance route, 1, 2, 3, ball out, a rope, perfect timing, is perfect ball placement. It was awesome. The underlying stats are more middling, and I understand that, but man, the eye test and just what we're seeing, the production that's coming now, there's a lot of good stuff. So it's like, again, this Bears team after their bye week, which is this week, I believe. Really, I think this is where it's going to feel even more real. Like where it's like, this is good stuff. The operation is good between Caleb and Ben Johnson. The other guys are kind of sloppy right now, but these 2 are clicking right now. Ben Johnson's not blinking literally and figuratively, and Caleb Williams is. I think he's starting to feel it right now. I don't know. He's a psycho, and I love an offensive psycho because there's plenty of defensive psychos, and I'm all for it. So I'm like, yeah. But yeah, Caleb. I know
like him and Liam Cohen. They've got a little bit of spice to them. Ben Johnson and Liam Cohen. Those like the kind of the big brain offensive coordinators. Those guys got This guy's got a lot of heat on him. That's for sure.
I know. I like it. I know. I'm still encouraged by the Bears. It's not all perfect. Trust me. Like they're sloppy on defense, but the offensive operation's been like, it's getting better, especially if they get some health and they could figure out the running back room. Make a trade or something, please. Yeah. And then Drake May, sack rate a little too high still, but his pressure sacks actually, I mean, it's 26%, which isn't like crazy. Get that below 20, we're cooking, and he can do that. But oh man, just unbelievably efficient. The offense is asking him to be unbelievably efficient. There's so many stick routes, so much quick game, and his accuracy has been just great. I mean, obviously first in completion percentage, but just even eye test accuracy, where that ball placement is. Watch the throw he had to Hunter Henry. That Hunter Henry gets tackled at the 1 inch line. I still don't understand how he didn't score, but it's an angle route, and he's thrown away from the linebacker that's buzzing underneath it, and he places it perfect. And the over route to Stephon Diggs last week was beautiful because he gets the linebacker to tie down. Just some really good stuff. First in dropback success rate in the whole NFL, not just among rookies, 54.3%. They've played a cupcake schedule. I understand that, but it's still good to see this, especially considering what the Patriots have. Since 2013, just for reference, the record is Drew Brees in 2018 at 54.8%. So pretty high rate. Fifth in EP per dropback, eighth in net yards at attempt, despite ranking 13th in YAC. Yes, they played the easy schedule, but man, this is very encouraging because I know he can really push the ball, but seeing this kind of under center, underneath kind of accuracy dart throwing is really encouraging on top of the explosive plays that I know he can generate. So pretty cool start to Drake May. Yeah, fun game against the Bills this week. Should be fun. Now we just got to figure out let's get Kyle Williams out there. Pretty please. All right, now we are going to take our
Matt
last
Collins,
break.
like, enough.
Got to get him out there.
Sorry.
Got to design red zone touchdowns for Matt Collins. That's
dunking on me.
I know. It was a good design, but it was Matt Collins. I cracked up when I saw that. Anytime I see him now, I just crack up and think of him and Wendell Robinson. Those are the two guys that whenever they do something, I just
see Wendell's back. He's back on his He's back on his BS, bro. He's got negative air yards per target in the second half of last week's game. So get ready to get a lot more. Get ready to learn Wendell Robinson air yards, folks. With Malik Neighbors out for the rest of the year.
Oh, I know. Dart's gonna be launching them go balls, I guess. Maybe to 5'9", 5'8", Wendell Robinson with 28-inch arms. All right, we're taking our last break. We'll come back with the best 5 units through 4 weeks. See you guys in a sec. All right, we are back to wrap up this show. We're going with the best units overall, talking like O-lines, receiver rooms, defensive lines, pass rush, all that good stuff. Matt, through 4 weeks, what are your best units overall?
I've got number 1, Bills run game. I have number 2, Rams passing game. Number 3, Rams defensive line. So pretty cool team you got there out there in Los Angeles. Number 4, I have the Browns pass rush. And number 5, I have the Chargers passing game. I would have felt disingenuous to not have the Chargers passing game in there just because I've talked so much about them. I know they're coming off of a disappointing loss to the Giants, and I am concerned about the offensive line, but nevertheless, they have been I think from a design, a player perspective, very impressive so far to start the year.
Great. I know. I love that. I'm glad you gave him a shout out too. It has been impressive. Number 1 for Quentin Johnson renaissance here. I don't know what to call it. Like, dude, that's been, it's more real than like,
yes.
Yeah. Talk about Quentin.
Yes. Since you said that, I do want to note that this is another guy I wrote up, in the charting notebook for week 3, because like, all right, it's time to talk about Quentin Johnson here and what he's done so far. And this is just the year 3 breakout is still a thing. This is the tough thing with Quentin Johnson is that, he was a guy that obviously did not play well as a rookie, obviously. And even his first 2 years, he has left plays on the field. But I maintained that he was absolutely set up to fail in his rookie season by what that Chargers coaching staff. I don't know what the point was. I don't know what the plan was. I don't know what the thought process was, but there was no reason to have him do what he did. And then like year 2, I kind of said that he made a bit of a micro leap for Quentin Johnson, where it felt like Greg Roman and Jim Harbaugh is just obviously like a confidence magician. He's going to make you believe in yourself by hook or by crook. He's going to make you believe in yourself. And I think that matters for a player like Quentin Johnston. But you kind of saw, I remember writing about this in the offseason for his RP profile, that it wasn't necessarily that his deployment or his routes changed or anything like that. He was still used as an X, and he was still like used on a lot of vertical routes, but where they would throw him the football, there was like a conscientious effort to get him the ball on these runway routes, to let him run after the catch. So it's like, okay, we're building something there. I mean, I even said, I was like, they drafted Trey Harris. Like, he can still be a usable wide receiver 3, like on this team. Obviously he's way outkicked that. And like, I don't know if he's going to go on and become an elite receiver, like Devontae Adams did, but his journey so far, I actually had, not even me, this is one of my subscribers pointed this out, that has, access to all of the sicko tier data. It's like based on the in-season data that he has like for year 3 right now, where he's beating zone coverage and he's still a run after catch player, and he's used a little bit less at X, and is kind of being moved around the formation. It's not too dissimilar to Adams's like 3rd season, when he kind of got back on track after 2 outrageously terrible years to start his career, where it was drops and like a lack of confidence and all that. So yeah, I don't know that Quentin's going to go on and become the next Devontae Adams. That is like a one of one thing I've truly since 2014, I've only seen happen once, where somebody is like at the bottom of the RP database from a success rate versus man, zone, press, whatever, all the way to the top. I'm betting that probably never happens again, but there have been guys that have recovered from, and been useful players. Quentin looks like he's more than that right now. So I think like he's transitioned into this nice role, and like his breakout is really real, and it just changes the complexion of the rest of the guys there, and like the opportunity that Ladd McConkey is going to get, the opportunity that other players are going to get, because he deserves the football. Like, this isn't some little mirage or anything like that. He's
a valid threat. Like, he has to be honored. Like that's the thing. It's not one of these, he runs a crossing route, okay, we'll just let him go. Okay, no, we can, as a defender, I can just let him, don't have to keep an eye on him. I can bump over in zone. That matters now. Yes, you have to honor him man coverage. So you're saying Jalen Polk is not going to be another one of those bottom to top kind of guys, even though he went to New Orleans?
Probably not. Most of the players that finish down there, it's Justin Hunter, it's Devin Funchess, it's Jalen Reagor. Like, once you're down there, you're down there. But I mean, there have been guys that have recovered. And that's the thing, like, Quentin Johnston was a talented prospect. He wasn't, I mean, I didn't have him buried as some like day 2 pick. He was a legit guy that could go in the first round, and sometimes, but he was a one side of the field player at TCU, and like sometimes those guys need a season. We're just way too quick to overreact to rookie wide receiver seasons. I think sometimes on the positive, where it's like, oh, this guy's one of the best. Like, and look, we talked about the second year receivers earlier. Oh, this guy's immediately just gonna be one of the best receivers in the league forever. Well, sometimes like guys take journeys throughout the course of their career. It's up, down, or up, then down, and then back up again. And then sometimes guys just need to ramp up. Like, the year 3 thing can still be real. And I think that's where Quentin Johnston is here. But yeah, for the most part, once guys finish at the bottom of the RP database, they just kind of live down there.
I mean, I'm looking at the quarterbacks. I was looking at Drew Brees' old stats, and I was like, how old were you when you went to the New Orleans? And he was like 28. It's like, all right, well, no wonder. Like, and that's why everyone just pictures him now. I remember when he was with the Chargers. That's why they drafted Phillip Rivers. So it's, that was just an aside, but like kind of related to what you're saying. Last thing on Quentin Johnston, I looked it up on Next Gen Stats. I know you don't do your own individual charting here, but they do crossing routes, which I think runway routes is the best way to describe those. Crossers, overs, one of those kind of runway routes. His rookie year, he had 32 crossing routes the entire season, 8 targets, 5 catches, 63 yards. Only through 4 weeks this year, he has 26 crossing routes, 7 targets, 6 yards, 99 yards, or 6 catches, 99 yards, 2 touchdowns. So he almost has as many through 4 weeks as he did his entire rookie season. That's just one route, but that kind of matches exactly what we're seeing. So he's one on film. It's matched up to what his production's happening the last couple of weeks. I agree with you. This feels a lot more real, and that's a guy I kind of was like, yeah, this is what you are in the NFL. But now it's like, okay, that's could be a legit 2, like a good 2. I mean, to me, or a 2A with another guy. So, all right, my top 5. I haven't even jumped into it because I just want to talk about Johnson a little too much. But my top 5, number 1, the Seahawks defensive line / their entire defense. has just been number one in DVOA. Their defensive front caves heads in, can beat you bendy style, has guys lined up all over. The linebackers fit the run, reckless abandon. DBs are now getting Witherspoon back, and just a fun DB. Joe has been a nice player this year. Love when he's on the field as a good player. Just a cool team, cool unit. Browns defensive line, top of Myles Garrett. Mason Graham has been real. They get a couple other guys. They have another rookie, an undrafted free agent that's really shown up. What is your name? Aiden Huntington. He's an undrafted rookie. He's like good. And that's been really surprising. I like when he's been showing up, I'm like, you're a rookie, or were you a day 3 guy and I just forgot? Like, and I'm like, no, undrafted. So want to give him a shout, but other guys, Shelby Harris has had a nice year. Broncos trenches, number 3. I cheated. Offensive line and defensive line. Their offensive line has not given up a sack through 4 weeks. They've given up 2 sacks. They've both been extended play sacks because Bo Nix is Bo Nix, but 0 sacks. I know they get some help, some of the personnel usage, some of the designs, but 0 sacks through 4 weeks, 0 sacks through 4 weeks. And I think the run game, I'm kind of good with what the run game is. It's solid, but it's never going to be one maybe overwhelming, but they're just such a good team. And then the defensive line is so good. Just pick a name. They're playing well. Nick Bonito is might be a defensive player of the year candidate. How he's playing so far. Jonah Ellis has stepped up. Zach Allen, when he's healthy, is out there. Franklin Meyer. They've just got so many guys on that defensive line. 4, Bills offensive line, tied into your Bills run game tout. Yes. Awesome. Best run game in the NFL, I think, right now. Just really good stuff. They're so well coached. And this is with Spencer Brown missing time. Just awesome unit. And then I went 5. Thought I might get this one out of you. I went Rams receivers. So we went LA receivers, but different ones in LA. Just Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, the world's most interesting man, Jordan Whittington. We got Tutu Atwell getting a bomb touchdown. That's the only reason you carry Tutu Atwell on your roster is literally run that route at that opportunity. But no, I wanted to give the Rams receivers because I think Puka Nacua is might has the mantle right now. He's been so productive, so good. Devontae Adams has been exactly great in that role. You can't play man coverage against them right now. And I love Whittington as this glue guy, the most useful receiver you'll see. Plays fullback, tight end, does underneath blocks, takes jet sweeps, just a cool player. And then honorable mention, I had Lions defensive line and Giants defensive line. That might be a little recency bias, but still kind of preview before season bias and recency bias for the Giants defensive line. So how about that Bills run game though? They're cooking. It's fun.
They got old buddy Jackson Hawes out there doing. They don't have to do the 6 offensive lineman stuff enough. It's a little bit more credible. We've talked about this with Dalton Kincaid and why he doesn't play. He's actually been super productive when he's gotten opportunities, which is nice. You're going to have to do that now if you're Dalton Kincaid. But the lack of his ability to hold up at the point of attack as a blocker is an issue. Well, now they've got this guy who is at least some level of a threat as opposed to the 6 offensive linemen in the passing game. It allows them to be a little bit as if this team needed to be better in the run game. Now they're just a little bit more unpredictable. So that's been cool to see. They just have a lot of, everybody's talked about this, but they have a lot of continuity, built-in equity up there up front, and that matters a lot. And I think James Cook is a very good back. He's just, he picks the right lanes. He makes more, he's not just a get what's blocked guy. He looks better and better every single year. I'm such a cornball sometimes about this, but I do love when guys hold out for the contract. Not that he didn't do a full holdout. He was kind of there and then he said, his business or whatever. But, he's in there doing that. He's demanding the contract and then he gets it. And he's even better than he was before he was paid. I think that's pretty cool to see. So, yeah, man, I just the Bills offense is so well put together. Usually the wide receiver rotation is always annoying to me for some of these teams, although I'm trying to just get over that because, hey, guess what? There's too many good receivers in the league. A lot of these teams are going to rotate and they're not going to have a number one. Looking at you, Green Bay, looking at you, Indianapolis. And I think maybe it's because with the Bills, they've got some of my little like pet favorites on that roster, but they don't have like one guy that I think is being wasted or anything like that. So I'm really okay with that. And because it goes so well, and then it all just bleeds from the run game. This is such a really good rushing team, and in pass protection they are good too. Like the whole offensive line deserves a shout out. That is one of the things when you've got the coaching staff stability that they have, you can build a unit like this.
Yep, coaching staff stability, bringing back the offensive line. I mean, we all had them as a top 1 or top 2 offense going into the season. It was just easy. It was like, they bring back all the same players, and I think they upgraded the one guy. Matt Collins going to Joshua Palmer. Do I think Palmer's the greatest thing in the world? No, but I think he's a useful player, and in this offense, it made sense. Man, I mean, Khalil Shakir has got a great role. He's one of my favorite kind of just overall players in the league, and it's also just a like told you so kind of thing, because it's like, yeah, that's exactly what I envisioned him as a prospect. But that was a guy we agreed on. I remember that. They were number 1 DVOA, number 1 EPA per drop back, like outside garbage time. I always kind of number 1 in yards per game. They're averaging over 400 yards per game outside garbage time, 6.3 yards per play. Throwing the ball, it's Josh Allen. Josh Allen has become it's what's so cool with some of these guys is that he's so mentally capable of handling so much pre-snap and post-snap that he makes it look so easy. Just these underneath throws, and his accuracy has gotten so good that underneath, and people were making fun of him just a couple of weeks ago. They're like, "Oh, he became a check down merchant." He's like, "He's not a check down merchant. He's just a machine."
Yeah, no, please shut up.
And it's because he gets. Oh, I know. It's like, that's the thing is, I know that I use target maps all the time, but they all tell different stories. So like each one, that's what's so fun to look at them. Jackson Darts was funny, by the way. I'm not saying good or bad, but just it looked like Orion's belt throughout it. He had just all these like 3 target sequences all throughout his. But anyways, that I think is more of a hat tip to what this offense is. Allen gets so much respect because he can throw the ball legitimately 30 yards on a line. And if you can throw the ball 30 yards on a line, that means every throw is available to you. That's why I'm high on other guys, those young guys I talked about, Caleb, Drake May. He's throwing a 30-yard comeback to Keon Coleman on one play. All right, safety's got to play deep. That guy just hit a 30-yard comeback on us in rhythm. Like that is so why I'm saying all that. If you can get hit all the way behind you, well, we got to move back on any single play. So what should an offense do? Not beat your head against the wall and just keep trying to throw it deeper and deeper. Well, the safety's 30 yards, so we got to throw it 40. It's attack them underneath. And that's what this Bills team does. They bully you and they get 8 yards a pop on the ground, or Josh Allen's just a machine with this kind of weird assortment of personnel groupings that I really like. They have used 11 different unique personnel groupings this year, meaning like, so they have 11 personnel, 12 personnel, 21 personnel with Reggie Gilliam. They've used 14% 22 personnel, which is 2 tight ends, a fullback, and a running back. The 37 plays out of 22. The rest of the NFL, the average is 3. Like that's rare. And I know. And they can go under center. They can go shotgun. They can run zone. They can run duo. They can pull their offensive lineman. I don't know. It's a really fun. It's just so clean on top of the cool Josh Allen amazingness, because that's the type of player that he's become. Glad we both give him a shout. But yeah, that was fun going over some lists, some September lists with you, Matt Harmon. I know we're outside of July, but it's still fun to do it with you. We're closing it out today. Charles and I will be back on Thursday to preview week 5. Well, it should be a fun grouping of games. I'm Nate Tice. You can find me at Nate_Tice. That is Matt Harmon. Where can they find you, Matt? What are you working on this week?
Yeah, Yahoo Fantasy Forecast. We'll have Nate on tomorrow for the Fantasy Film Room. I'll figure out what we're talking about here hopefully today. I just wrote a piece this morning about some of these wide receiver injuries and kind of what to expect out of these offenses and some of the other player usage, especially in Miami. Really focused in on what that might mean for some of the guys there. So that's up on the website if people want to check it out.
Awesome. Yahoo Fantasy Forecast. We got the film room tomorrow. Make sure to check all that out. Matt's got amazing stuff, especially we got some data to go over. But make sure to subscribe to us here at Football 301, wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us, rate us 5 stars, pretty please. Also watch us on YouTube on the Yahoo Sports YouTube channel. Thanks to Stone, Madison, and Austin behind the scenes for making us look and sound good. Thank you all for listening. See you guys on Thursday.